I always question whether or not I need to introduce myself when I've been someplace a few times. But I realize that usually when I'm here for Mass, it's on Sunday evening, so this is a newer experience for most of you, so I will. I am Father Tom Kadera. I'm a retired priest from the Diocese of Cheyenne, Wyoming. It is a state. There is a state of Wyoming actually also. And we oftentimes refer to it as the state of grace. So you're welcome to join us and come visit anytime. I now live in Ham Lake with a sister after I retired three years ago now. So I'm certainly happy to be here and to give Father Biden a chance to go to a wedding rehearsal or wedding celebration. So he's out partying while we're praying, so we can pray for him. I'd like to reflect a little bit with you tonight on this reading of St. Paul's from Corinthians. And I'll approach it from a couple of perspectives, one of humility and one of indifference. So Paul says that I might not become too elated, too haughty, too proud. Because of an abundance of revelations, a thorn in the flesh was given to me, an angel of Satan, to beat me and keep me from being elated. 3 times he tells us that he begged God to take it away from him. God's response to him was no. I'm not going to take it away. I'm not going to take it away because as long as you have this, you are weak. And when you are weak, you depend on me. And when you depend on me, you become strong. So God allows us to have a thorn, as Paul calls it, because it allows us to be humble and to depend upon God, to recognize our own weaknesses. The question is often asked, why is there suffering? Why do people suffer? I don't know that I have a great, brilliant answer for that. Greater minds than mine have tried to answer it. But I'll give an approach. What Paul alludes to. We're allowed to suffer to make us strong, to teach us humility. And I would suggest, he mentions here, let me see, where is it? Therefore I am content with weakness, with insults, hardships, persecutions, constraints, for the sake of Christ. If you go online and you Google litany for humility, you will find a rather long litany for humility. Some of you may have seen it already or be familiar with it. It's a hard prayer to pray. I would invite you to look it up, print it out, and pray it. When we talk about sin, every sin is a result of pride. If I'm impatient, why am I impatient? Because I'm not getting my way. I'm not getting what I want. Maybe I'm impatient with a child. It's because they're not obeying me. They're not doing what I want them to do. So I'm impatient. And we can go on with whoever we're impatient with. It's an element of pride. I'm not getting what I want. And we can look at that in terms of most sin. It's an element of pride. And Paul addresses that. St. Ignatius gives us a brilliant teaching on indifference. And he starts with a basic principle. Why did God make me? Now, those of you who are of my vintage may remember the Baltimore Catechism and that question in the Catechism. I remember it. God made me to know him and love him in this world and to be happy with him forever in the next. And serve. To know, love, and serve him in this world and be happy with him forever in the next. Most of the time when I ask people that question, they get the first three. God made me to know him, love him, and serve him. Yes, also to be happy with him forever in the next. And that's important. That's what Ignatius uses for a foundation of his spirituality. And he says all of creation, you can look at anything, all of creation is created and given to me as a gift from God for the purpose of my salvation, so that I can accomplish my purpose. I live on 33 acres. 28 of it's underwater, but it's still 33 acres. And I get up in the morning and I sit in my office area, and I have windows all around so I can look out at the lake, the yard. And I see the sandhill cranes. And I see the trumpeter swans. I hear the sandhill cranes. I see the trumpeter swans. I hear the woodpeckers. I hear all the other birds singing. Once in a while, God will bless me with something new. Maybe a fox will go running by, or a deer or two. And as I sit there and I look at this and I'm doing my morning prayers, I give praise and thanks to God. Because I say he created that for my salvation. And we could say that about all of creation. So then St. Ignatius takes it another step, and kind of what Paul's alluding to here. So, if all is created and a gift to me for a purpose of my salvation, then it makes no difference if I am rich or poor. Wealth or poverty, either one, is a gift from God for the purpose of my salvation. It makes no difference if I'm healthy or sick. Either are created by God for my salvation. It makes no difference if I'm honored or insulted. Either is a gift from God for the purpose of my salvation. It makes no difference if I'm weak or strong. It's a gift from God. Makes no difference if I suffer hardships or have an easy life. Either is a gift from God for the purpose of my salvation. And you can go on. I'll let you develop your own opposites. But as we go through life and experience life, to be able to live life with that approach, that whatever I have, whatever I am, is a gift from God for the purpose of my salvation. So if I have wealth, how do I use it to build up the kingdom of God? How do I use it for God's glory? How do I use it to attain my own salvation? If I live in poverty, how do I do it for the purpose of my salvation? To build up the kingdom of God, to give God glory. If I have health, how do I have it? How do I use it for the purpose of my salvation? If I have sickness or illness, how do I use it for the purpose of my salvation? And you can go on with all of those opposites again. I'll let you do your own reflection on it and prayer. And whatever it is that God has given you, to ask yourself that question. How can I use it for the purpose of my salvation? How can I use it to know, love, serve God in this world and be happy with Him in the next? That's the question. St. Paul struggled with it. We don't know what this thorn was. Many theologians think it was some kind of a sin that he was very vulnerable to and committed quite often. So he wanted to get rid of it. But God said, no, I'm going to let you have it because it's going to keep you humble. You'll be weak. And when you are weak, you depend on me. When you depend on me, you become strong. Whatever it is that I am, whatever it is that I have in the world, can I use it for the purpose of my salvation? Can I use it to become closer to God, to become stronger in my faith, for the salvation of my soul and the salvation of others?